I refused to translate for my mother-in-law at her doctor's appointment after she told my children I was a bad influence. So for context, I'm the only person in my husband's family who speaks English fluently. Like actually fluent, not just ordering food or reading a menu. His parents immigrated here about 20 years ago and never really picked it up, so whenever they need to deal with anything official, a lease, a school form, a medical thing, it's me. It's always been me. I've never complained about it, honestly. It felt like something I could do for them, and I liked being useful. My mother-in-law Delia and I have had a complicated relationship from the beginning. She's not mean exactly, just she has opinions and she doesn't really keep them to herself. Over the years, it's been little things. How I run my house, how I cook, whether I work too much. I've let most of it slide because my husband Eduardo asked me to, and because I understood that's just kind of who she is. Then about 6 weeks ago, my sister-in-law Rosa called me. She said her mom had been telling the kids, my kids, our two daughters who are 9 and 11, that I set a bad example because I work instead of being home with them. Apparently Delia had told them that a real mother puts her family first and that my job is why they don't have what other kids have. She said this more than once over 2 separate visits. My older daughter came home and asked me if I was a bad mom. I didn't say anything to Delia right away. I told Eduardo, who said he'd talk to her. I don't know if he actually did because nothing changed. Delia called the following week like nothing happened. She called me Micha. She asked if I was coming to Sunday dinner. I went to Sunday dinner. I smiled and passed the rice. Then 2 weeks later, Eduardo came to me and said his mom had an appointment at a specialist, something with her kidneys, a new doctor she'd never seen before. He said she needed someone to go with her and translate. His sister couldn't make it. He had work. Could I take her? I sat with that for a minute. And I asked him, does she know you're asking me? He said yes. I said, did she say anything when you told her it would be me? He got this look on his face and said she was just grateful for the help. I said, Eduardo, she told our daughters I'm a bad mother. She said it more than once. He said she didn't mean it that way. She just comes from a different generation. She loves the girls. I said, I know, but I'm not ready to sit in a room with her and act like that didn't happen. He went quiet. Then he said, so you're not gonna take her? I said, not right now. No. He made other arrangements. I don't know exactly what. I think a neighbor who speaks a little English went with her, and they called the hospital's interpreter line for the parts that mattered. It worked out. It wasn't ideal, but it worked out. That night, Delia called Eduardo while I was in the kitchen. I could hear his side of the conversation from the hallway. He kept saying, I know, and then, she's going through something. I stood there listening to him explain me to his mother, using the same tone he uses when he's trying to keep everyone calm. When he got off the phone, I asked what she said. He said she was upset, that I'd abandoned her when she needed help, that it proved I didn't really consider myself part of the family. I said, she told your daughters I was a bad influence, Eduardo. She said it while sitting in our house eating food I cooked. And your response when I finally did one thing one time to protect myself was that I'm abandoning her. He didn't say anything. I said, when does someone say something to her? He picked up his phone and said he was going to call Rosa and see if she could help with the follow-up appointment. Delia hasn't asked me to translate anything in 3 weeks.